I became interested in secret societies when I was at university, and I really didn't think, I thought they were a myth, and then when I became a senior I found out that they weren't, and that within this already elite institution there was an even smaller elite group or groups that had their own rules and their own mysteries and their own culture, and that these people were very powerful throughout the world and in the United States.
Skull and Bones has had a long and very interesting history, including Wild Bill Donovan and the formation of the OSS, which became the CIA, its membership of Averell Harriman, George Bush Jr., who may be our next president of the United States, George Bush being the director of the CIA, kind of a tradition of Yale, Skull and Bones, CIA, sort of lurking in there somewhere, keeping secrets, secret societies. It's all true. Whether the rituals as we've portrayed them are true, we've made them up to be cinematic and dramatic and, fun to watch. But they're based in truth. The roots are true.
The skulls are actually, in real life, the Skull and Bones, and they certainly exist. And they exist at several different Ivy League institutions, but the great-granddaddy of them all is the Skull and Bones, founded in 1832. And the parallels are vastly different and hugely similar. And there's only so much that anybody knows about what goes on within the hallowed halls of the Skull's tomb. So what we do know, we tried to incorporate into the film, and then we dramatized, fictionalized after that.
As scary as it is, you have to remember this is just a movie, and it couldn't always be this bad. I mean, this is just someone's story, and this just happens to be, a way of the writer showing the dark side.
When you look at this, you see it's a moral tale that friendship is so precious that it should not be, like, money can come along, and money is very enticing, and you think it's going to change your life, but it can. I mean, that money is the root of all evil. But in a strange way with this movie, it kind of is. You don't get anything for free.
What's so interesting about the film is that everybody parallels each other. All the characters really do. The acting as if the ends justify the means, thinking that their ends are the ends that are the superior ends to attempting to achieve something. You and I are Maury's, right? Having a good time drinking, talking to some girls, and Caleb Mandrake and your 7 new friends come in. You gonna sit with them or sit with me? You gonna introduce me, or is that against the rules? What?
How do you know about Caleb?
You see, Chloe's already on first-name basis.
No bullshit, Will. How do you know about Caleb Mandrake?
Call it a guess. But Caleb's not the issue, all right? The issue's us. For Will, he really believes that this organization is just bad, and he wants to really investigate it. However, he goes through some shady things to get there and ends up meeting a shady demise.
Will, help me! Somebody help me!
Luke and Will and Chloe they're all each other's touchstones. And when Will is out of the equation, I think it's just a moment of clarity of sometimes maybe you take things for granted. Like you get in stupid fights over something really, really dumb. And for a moment where you lose focus with him leaving us, you see these two people go, no more. And we're much stronger as a team, and you really see them band together, and you see their strength so much as a team, and you really see that support, and it's so beautiful. And they realize that they're in love with each other.
Chloe,
You
just
got me
promise me
involved,
this
I'm
one.
involved.
I can't
Look,
move forward
I'm
if I think that you're in
involved.
danger.
I'm gonna
Please.
be there for you, okay?
Do you
I'm
understand
part of
what
this
these people
too,
are
okay?
capable
I do
of?
understand,
These people will
okay?
kill you.
I'm in love with you.
The funny thing about the relationship with Chloe for Luke is that, typical stupid male, he's got it all backwards. He thinks it is his assumption that he couldn't possibly be good enough for this woman because he is the outsider and he's the mutt and he's the guy who is not pedigreed. He doesn't have the wealth or the fame or the family or the connections. And he sees his indoctrination into the skulls as the door opening for him being able to finally say, hey, here I am. On her side, the only thing that is interesting about him is that he's not one of those guys, because those are the guys that she's known her entire life.
Lucas, I've been looking all over for you. I need to talk to you right now.
Chloe, this is Caleb Mandrake.
We've met at Exeter.
Luke and Caleb they're so opposite in where they come from and who they are. And that's why they attract and they bond the way that they do. Lucas is self-made and he's done everything on his own. Nothing was handed to him. And Caleb respects him for that.
Hey, don't let go, Luke! Don't let go!
If I was Luke and I saw a guy like Caleb, I'd go, that's everything that I want to be. That's everything that I don't have, and it's everything that I want. And on the other hand, he's like a brother. Luke is a guy who has no family. He has Hill's character, he has Will, but he has no family. And he sees, he sees this cool guy. He sees the man who welcomes him with open arms, and he goes, hey, this guy's my family now. This is where I've always wanted to be. This is, if I could have painted you the picture of what my brother would have looked like, it'd have been this guy. So I think that's why the world of the skulls is so seductive. Because they tell you, hey, everything that you've dreamed of, we got it. It's right over here. Come on in.
You are a menace to society.
To expose to this target audience, this new generation of filmgoers, this genre of the thriller, set in a world they know or want to know about, college. And at the center of it is Josh Jackson, presented with, in a sense, a Faust metaphor, a Faust story. Okay, here, Faust, here's all the things that you want in life. Sign on the dotted line, give me your soul. You can have anything you want. And he ultimately has to make this incredible moral choice, and then has to go into action based on the moral choice he makes, knowing it's a great risk to himself, knowing that he's going to give up all that he ever wanted to make the right choice and do the right thing. Does it, wins love, and does it successfully, wins his own soul back. I thought that was a really good story for young people. They need that.
Here we go. Bow your heads, the skull.
Oh, yes.
It's tough to tell when the secret society ends and the university begins. We know you're up there.
Yeah, we know you're down there.
Don't expect an answer. The CIA was founded inside those walls.
Yes, they were, but back in World War II, when they were still the good guys.
Oh, yeah, the good guys. Well, say what you want. All I know is if it's secret and it's elite, it can't be good. The way that I approach my work is that I want to get to know somebody if I'm playing their best friend. So getting to know Leslie and Josh really well has been a joy for me because I have 2 new friends, which is great. But it also informed our work, and I think that you'll see relationships on screen amongst young people that hopefully they haven't seen before. Hopefully it'll be much more organic and much more real and entertaining.
We're all friends and we hang out, so I see them like as geeks. And like we're all goofy together. And we laugh and they pick on me and all this stuff. So to me, it's weird to see girls go, oh, it's Josh, oh, it's Paul, oh, it's Hill. And I'm like, oh, it's a geek.
It was nice to be able to be part of the process of building the team this time and be there from the inception instead of, usually I'm like a hired gun. I'm a guy who comes in at the very last minute. But this time I was there for the baby steps and was there as everybody came on, and it became more of like a family atmosphere, which is nice. It's nice to go to work every day with people that you're comfortable with.
It's been one of the most exciting experiences of my long career that I hope will be longer, but just to work with them and to feel that familial thing that doesn't often happen, and that sounds corny when you talk about it, that critics and journalists always poo-poo because they think it's just Hollywood hyperbole. But in the case of this film, that feeling really did exist.
Who do you think is pulling the strings around here, huh? They're watching you, they're watching me. They control everything. They control everything we do, including him. Even him.
I've heard about enough.
All right, hey, whoa, hey. You guys stay back. Keep them back. Hey.
You're working with fresh, optimistic people, not jaded by this industry, not broken by failures and disappointments, just ready to tear life, you know, with their teeth, rip it right out and get a good chunk for themselves, and open to ideas and open to trying things and not setting any bad patterns yet or old habits, not relying on a bag of tricks. And that's been a great thrill for me.
And to be put in an environment with a guy like Rob specifically, who is he is absolutely the leader of this movie. He is the helmsman. A guy who has the strong desire to tell stories with messages and with story that don't just work on one level and aren't just, you know, the young kids in a slasher movie or whatever it is. So, yeah, it is Rob's influence, and it is nice to be a part of that group.
The thing that goes through my head more than anything else is, I don't know, I feel like I really worked with a director that I really clicked with. And when I talk to my agent or I talk to my representatives back home, the thing I say over and over again is that I either want to work with Rob again or I want to work with someone just like him.
I felt so safe with Rob Cohen. I never really felt, I totally felt challenged every day I went to set, but he always would say to me, he was like, jump off the cliff, I'll catch you. Make choices, take risks, but we're here, I'm here with you, this is a team effort. And knowing that, it didn't become a challenge, it became, what are we gonna do today?
Every day I've gone back home and I've said to myself, you know, Josh really outdid himself today. He took chances. And my job was to set the context in which Josh and Paul and Leslie Hill, they would take the chances because they knew that no failure would ever be criticized, that there was a safety net underneath them, meaning me, that would never let them fall through, never let them look foolish. And if they tried something that didn't work, would come up and say, that didn't work, let's try this. And that they could express everything they wanted to express and know that it would be received gratefully by me and the crew, and that in that womb of security, which is not normally what a movie is about, they would learn to expand and explore and discover in themselves the joy that they deserve because of who they are, and they all are very deserving people.
Your grandson Peter loves you so, doo-dah, doo-dah. This flower basket, so you'll know on this special day.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, yes. Happy birthday, B. Happy. You know,
Thank you.
I really do. I have
you,
to go.
thank you.
I really. I'll be sitting in on the first case I ever really care about.
First case you care about,
yeah,
right?
I'll be just
Fired up.
Yeah,
You're gonna get this shooting pain that's coming up through your back into your chest, and then you can't
Will,
breathe. Oh no! Hey, somebody call 911! Hey, Scoob, where you got that? Because my boy needs some help. Oh, Lord, Scoob! Lord, Scoob!
My future's killing me, Will. It's killing me.
Hey man, it's not gonna kill you, all right? Listen.
Oh my.
Come on, get it. Listen.
All right? Forget about the skulls, okay? And start this year off right. And tell Chloe what you really feel about her. Huh?
All right, let's try to stay on planet Earth here, shall we, William? Chloe went to Miss Porter's, and I can't even dance, right? Chloe's parents own a private jet, and I've never even been on a jet. So you're starting to get the picture now?
Yeah.
Mom, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's nice doing business with.
I'd rather spend 2 nights a week with a girl like that than sweating with 8 guys in an underground crypt, huh?
So would I, Will. So would I.
What, I missed something?
You baby, no, you don't miss a thing.
There's little boy secrets.
Little boy secrets. Well, in my house, little boys, nobody pays.
All right. Okay.
I'm not mad at that.
Relax, you got 2 more hours.
Jesus. Will,
Yeah.
look, he's kind of losing flesh around his head. Oh my God. Oh my God, he's turning into a skull. No.
Have I ever told you guys how funny you are?
All right, we're done here. Come on. Hey, I made a couple edits. This is great, though. It is great.
I gotta buy one, right?
Front page. Oh, I'm coming. Hey, don't work all night, all right?
You are a menace to society.
Let's go. Come on. Hey, you're trespassing on private property.
You're under arrest, gentlemen. Wait, here he comes. Shut up.
Morning. Martin Lombard, University Provost. Rough night? Breaking and entry. Vandalism. Guys, the hell were you thinking? Now, the police want to know who was behind this. You give me a name, and maybe I can make all this go away. Or, Mr. Mandrake, you can pack up, head home, tell your father why you missed senior year.
Mr. Lombard. Phone.
Think hard, gentlemen. Yeah.
It's a setup. Guys.
Yeah, sure it is. We're in a goddamn police station, for Christ's sake. What kind of a setup?
Don't you get it? This is the test. To see who can keep the first truth and who
The
can't.
first truth? First truth is we're gonna be suspended. Were you listening?
Listen to me. I've been in this building more times than I would care to admit.
Oh, great.
All right? And I'm telling you that when a cop arrests you, the first thing he does is handcuff you.
We're handcuffed.
I
You
know.
were handcuffed.
Listen to me.
What?
Just
You have
listen to
to.
me. The first thing he does is handcuff you, and then he Mirandizes you, and then he searches you before he puts you in the car. This thing stinks. It's a setup. The whole mess.
All right, guys, what's it gonna be?
All right, well, listen, you got me. It was my idea. What can I say? I'm sorry.
You're a bad liar, McNamara.
No, I'm telling you, the snakes, I can't get enough of them. I got this thing with weather vanes, snakes. It's like a fetish, really.
That's funny. How'd you like to lose your financial aid? You're not laughing.
You know what? You're right. You're right. Because you, Mr. McNamara, are a terrible liar. Yeah, because this whole thing was my idea. Truth is, both of them are liars. It was my idea to begin with.
It's always my idea.
It's enough. All right. I'm glad you have such a great sense of humor because I just got off the phone with the dean of the University of Connecticut. You've been the subject of a hoax. Seems one of their fraternities pretended to be the Skulls. They got you to jump through some hoops and break a few laws, adorn their frat house beer wall with this. Now, for those of you who thought you were protecting some secret society by your silence, you've only attained disciplinary probation for the rest of the semester. You're free to go. Oh, McNamara, Mandrake. Return the snake.
Goodbye, police. You see? Told you it wasn't a test.
So when do you think they'll let us know?
When they want us to.
You look like you've done this before.
Once or twice. There. The skills of a misspent youth.
Thanks, man.
Don't mention it, crabgrass.
Crabgrass?
Yeah, you know, the weed that grows through the crack in the sidewalks. Dogs piss on it, people step on it, it still thrives. Crabgrass.
Crabgrass. All right. Shall we, Mr. Mandrake?
Yes, we shall.
I don't need your money, Judge.
Well, before you go, there's something you should see. Concerns your family.
I don't understand. Who are these people?
The boy is you. The girl is your mother. Her name is Eva. This is how she looks today. The car crash was a lie. It's meant to make you feel better, to keep you from feeling unwanted. She was difficult to find. You mustn't be too harsh on your mother. The facts are clear. She left you behind to fend for yourself, living on the streets and in foster homes. She never looked back. Which brings me to my original point. Your mother did not want you. We want you. It's a simple choice, really. You remain and be one of us, or leave and go back to being one of them. I would do anything to protect you. Won't you do the same for me?
When that death is of their own choosing, we're left dumbfounded, without answers.
It's not supposed to be like this.
Life isn't fair. You're right, Caleb. Life isn't fair.
Not many undergraduates have expressed a desire to see Mr. Sturdivant's personal papers. Your interest?
Well, he's always been a hero of mine. In fact, I'm thinking of writing my senior thesis on his brilliant works.
Mr. Sturdivant was an accountant.
What? Yes, a very wealthy accountant, wasn't he? You and I both know that his theory of double-entry bookkeeping was absolutely revolutionary, right? How long did you say it would be before I could get that pass?
She likes to eat popsicles after you make love. And the scent of cocoa butter from her lipstick reminds you of the girls we had in Cambodia when we were young. I've had my own peccadillos, but my God, Ames, she's only 19.
Dad, I can't.
I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. Caleb, it is time for you to stand up and be a man and do what is right. Leverett, Whitney, everybody on the council has agreed. You will do this one thing, and we will take care of the rest. Caleb! My God, you will do it.
Dad, we're talking about Luke. You know, my soulmate?
Lucas. Oh, Mr. McNamara. Lucas. Well, he was never really one of us, was he?
In every film, scenes are deleted for various reasons, either length or content, clarity, or just they're not up to the rest of the movie. Here are a number of scenes that we cut for different reasons. In the beginning of the film, in the script, we wanted to show that Josh Jackson had many part-time jobs, that he was really working as a scholarship student, that not only did he work in the dining hall, that he also delivered flowers, which is something Jason Scott Lee, the star of Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, was doing when I met him. Later on, we found that just working in the dining hall serving breakfast was enough.
I'll be sitting in on the first case I ever really cared about.
Here, in the bar scene, we felt that the kind of comedic push of these two characters was too much. It was too big and not truly funny, and that they found it funnier than the audience did, and that the scene was better if it was played from a realer place and a less forced place, and got into the real substance, which is Josh's dilemma about going to law school, where he was going to get the money, and his feelings about Chloe. So we took that kind of thing down to get closer to the heart of it and to speed up the beginning of the film, which is very, very often a problem, getting the audience's attention quickly and then keeping it before they begin to stray and wander, that the movie is never going to move fast enough for them. And as I look at this, I think these were all correct decisions.
It's nice doing business with.
I'd rather spend 2 nights a week.
This is not to say that the actors were bad or the directing was bad or the writing was bad. Sometimes it just doesn't all add up. And the skill and the joy of editing is that you can erase your mistakes. And if you have a good scene or a good moment, then a mediocre moment and another good moment, and you remove the mediocre moment, the 2 good moments become twice as good. We wanted to show that Hill Harper was an editor of the newspaper, and so we began this series of scenes that led to the walk and talk back to their dorm after the bar in the newspaper office. But the fact is that in the end, his being part of the newspaper was talked about, and we found that the talking about getting to be a skull was getting overbearing, and again, the plot needed to move on. Here, we had to fall into the moat, and it led to a whole scene where they were arrested by the New Haven police and taken for interrogation downtown, and who kept the secrets and who didn't keep the secrets about being in the secret society were in fact part of the elimination process. So we established the police station, and we also bring in the introduction of Chris McDonald. I'd say, unfortunately, Chris, who I adore, his part got cut deeper than anyone else's in the film, and for which I have apologized heartily. because I don't think if he knew what would remain that he would have taken the role, because being a thug is not what he wants to play. And here he was acting as the university provost, one of the deans of the students, and also here, a place where we introduced the scale of Matt, who I've told you in the DVD and the narrative of the film was a 7 feet tall Toronto policeman.
Think hard, gentlemen.
And here we see Josh Jackson's character begin to come forward with all the rich boys, explaining how the police work and why this isn't adding up. As a scene, it seemed intriguing, but it didn't really go anywhere. And the biggest proof of that is, once we cut it out, nothing changed. They stole the weather vane, and they got into the skulls, and deleted some of Chris McDonald, and we lost this guy I think we called Sweeney, guy with the long hair. He sort of was in the group and then disappears. But those are small prices to pay for an acceleration of the beginning of your film and the clarity that it brings. Again, some cuts are crueler than others, and there are moments in the scene, like this one, where Chris McDonald is brutal to Josh Jackson about revoking his scholarship, and we have a little I Spartacus moment led by Paul Walker, and I did like that moment. It was a lot of time, as you can see, a lot of screen time to get to this moment, and it wasn't ultimately worth it in the flow and rhythm of the narrative. And that's some of the good parts about editing, and the challenge of editing is the modulation of the rhythms, and so that the film unspools it not too fast so that the audience doesn't get lost, and not too slow so they, again, don't get ahead. And this sequence definitely allowed the audience to get ahead or meander in their imagination or run to the bathroom or for that second box of popcorn. Consequently, we excised it relatively early in the editing process, as we felt that being Peter Amundsen, Scott Stuber, studio executive from Universal, and Neil Moritz, the producer, myself, all believed that the beginning of the film needed a more aggressive pace, and so it bit the proverbial editing room floor. However, since we don't cut on film anymore, we cut on an Avid or Lightworks, which is all computer editing. The gigabytes don't hit the editing room floor. They go back into the hard drive, and then they appear on DVD auxiliary materials.
So when do you think they'll let us know?
When they want us to.
You look like you're done.
In the course of the narration of the whole film, I told you about this scene, the Mandrake scene, which was excised so deeply. Now you're going to just see how deeply it was cut. Here, he offers him his scholarship to Harvard Law, his acceptance to Harvard Law. Josh goes to the door. Who are these people, he says. He comes back, and he begins to see himself as a baby, and with his mother, who he believes was killed in a car crash. All of this has been excised from the film, all this information.
I don't need your money, Judge.
Well, before you go, there's something you should see. Concerns your family.
The big shock for him, of course, is now here's his mother today, says Mandrake, and he begins to realize that he wasn't an orphan by accident. He was, in fact, abandoned by his mother, and that his mother has set up a new life, and that she has new children, and that this time she's mothering these children, and of course that had to hurt. The idea was that Mandrake was breaking him down psychologically so that he would feel more insecure, that he would feel the need for parental or fatherly protection by Mandrake, and that he would feel that the Skulls was more his family, and that this familial organization would need his silence as the price of membership. So he comes back right to the same place, and this was the miracle for me, or the luck, was that I had staged the beginning and the end of the scene in the same area of the set, so that I could just give him his acceptance to Harvard Law and have him stand there and never go to the door, never see his mother, and never lead the audience into a loop that was confusing instead of straightforward and a little clearer. So, such are the strokes, and sometimes the big ones, in the editing room.
To protect you. Won't you do the same for me?
As I told you, Karen was the Reverend of Knox Chapel, and she was giving a very moving and powerful speech about suicide, and it was a very affecting sermon, but it, again, was obvious. We felt the contextual grief of the loss of Hill Harper. We did not need it to be highly spoken about. Here, after he pursues Matt, the big guy, into the library to find where the tapes are being taken, he needs a pass to get into this special section of the Beinecke Library, the big library at Yale, and he applies for a pass on some phony grounds. Ultimately, it didn't matter. Since he was using mace and a taser, we felt the library pass was sort of irrelevant. In this scene with Mandrake and Leverett, Craig T. Nelson and Bill Peterson talk about their time in Cambodia, in that there was the implication that as CIA members during the Vietnam War, that they had spent the time together doing the various things with the Montagnards and so on in Cambodia.
Dad, I can't.
I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. Caleb, it's time for you to stand up and be a man and do what is right.
This is the scene I told you I wanted to shoot to show why Caleb goes to the police station, and the scene that to have Caleb there, which is what the producer Neil Moritz wanted to see happen, which I fought. So I felt that we needed to see the browbeating of Caleb to betray Luke, to keep sympathy. And although I thought the scene was well shot and well acted, I felt that we just ultimately didn't need it, and the surprise of Caleb being there with Steve Harris was better than having it all given away.